Hello, everyone. So, I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome. I'm also going to share my awakening experience in hopes that it will give you the inspiration or motivation to begin to really step into your journey, whether it's the very beginning or it is another level or a part or step into this more expanded, evolved aspect of your journey. And so I started, or I would say my initial awakening began back in 2005-ish, where I had let go of the religious upbringing that I was raised in. And I also just felt really disconnected in a sense, very briefly from like everything. So I was atheist for a very short period. I don't even know if it lasted longer than a month, but it was essentially that zero vibration, that zero energy of just wiping the slate clean and just opening up myself to infinite possibilities. I wasn't really like atheist, like there's no God, but I just didn't trust anything that I was told as far as religion or spiritual. Well, it was more so like religion, right? Because I didn't really have an understanding of spiritual practice. And it wasn't like Instagram or Google or anything was around then. And so I just didn't have any means of getting a deeper understanding of spirituality as a whole. And so I was working at a restaurant, Hard Rock Cafe in DC, which is where I'm from. I'm from Washington, DC, Maryland area. And a friend that I worked with was raised, I thought it was Wiccan, but I think she was just raised pagan, right? So in a pagan perspective, a pagan lifestyle. And I don't even remember how I found it out. I just, maybe it came up in conversation. We weren't really friends. I think I was new at the restaurant at that time. And when I found that out, I was like, tell me everything you know. Like, what is this, right? Because I've been drawn to witchcraft since I was probably a preteen. I know that movie, The Craft, the very first one, was like really just like, I was so fascinated with that movie. I tried to do seances, and a friend of mine, we would do like the light as a feather, stiff as a board to see if that really worked. It didn't work, but I was really into that. And when I found out she was raised what I believed Wiccan, or she was like a witch, I was like, can you tell me everything you know? Like, what is this? And she just gave me a deck of tarot cards and was just like, figure it out. And I was like, okay, are you going to like show me how to use it? And she didn't. So I had to figure it out on my own. I didn't really have any books. I just started playing with the cards. I had no idea that this is what I was going to do for a living, right? And at the time I was into astrology as well, but it definitely wasn't like how it was now. It was more so, I'm an Aquarius. What does this mean? I thought I was a Capricorn, because I'm right on that border, the shift of Capricorn into Aquarius, but still I had no idea. And I was like, oh, well, my moon's in Capricorn. And I remember seeing Scorpio as my rising, and I was like, ugh, like I had that negative connotation to Scorpio at that time, which is really funny because I'm like, I so identify with my Scorpio placements. But yeah, so I had no idea that I was going to end up where I was now. And it was just fun. I was just playing. And the friend that gave me the tarot cards, we're still best friends now. And we started to connect. We ended up connecting with another girl, and we had our own coven. And it kind of just happened. Like, we were just like, it was just our essence. Like, we would go out together. Like, we were in it was three of us. And it was just like, we just carried this like power with us. And then we did start doing like spells and things of that nature, always carrying tarot cards, always carrying crystals. But it wasn't like that was just the way I was living. I had no idea. And so skipping through time, I ended up moving to Colorado, and I went to school for astronomy and physics. And what really pulled me in was this connection to the universe, because as I started just living my life, I started feeling this deeper connection with, it was always nature, but then it expanded to the universe. And it was definitely black holes is what drew me into studying astronomy, or wanting to study astronomy and physics. And so ended up in Colorado. I actually didn't really, being that I moved to Colorado, I didn't know anyone. And so I didn't really have a spiritual community, and I didn't really think about it like that. I always had my tarot cards. So I was always giving readings for fun. I was always giving myself readings, but I just didn't, it wasn't like how I am now, right? I didn't live my life every day. And I kind of lost touch with that spiritual power, or just that feeling, that essence. And so it wasn't until I graduated college and I went to college later, I gotten married. And then by the time I was graduating college, I was turning 30. I was just coming out of my Saturn return. I was getting divorced. I didn't know what I was doing with my life or what I was going to do from then on. And so I thought to myself, I was like, what made me happy? What made me feel really, really good? And when I thought about that, I was like, it was playing with my cards. It was doing not necessarily spells, but just like witchy shit. And so I started getting into that again. And as my ex-husband and I were separating at the time, still like living together though, but we were getting ready to get divorced, or it was coming to that point. He was so funny. He would like warn me, like, you shouldn't be playing with that stuff and whatever. I'm like, we're not even going to be together. So what are you talking about? And I learned some really intense lessons at that time with just my practice and being very, I learned the hard way by not being very clear and direct with what it was, with my intentions, what I was doing, the energy I was working with, what I was calling in. And I was also at the same time opening myself to channel, opening myself to be a guide and a teacher and living my life in this way. And it just worked out so nicely that I had begun to do green Tara practice with the actual Lama, a Rinpoche, Tibetan Buddhist, right? And it was it was at his home in private, and there was like a small group, but we would do the chants and the whole entire practice, the singing and everything, and the prayers and the offerings. And so it was amazing that I had that. I was already creating this practice for myself while I was going through a really tough time in my life, which I've talked about before, and I can talk about it in another video if y'all want to hear. But I definitely had to go through some strong, like some intense darkness to open myself up. But I had no idea. I was just going with the flow. And that is really one of the messages too, is to really begin to just like go with the flow and do what feels really good when you're stepping into this spiritual practice or this path. And so while I had already separated from my ex-husband, or we weren't divorced then, but we were going through a divorce, and I was discussing with a friend, like, I don't know like what I'm going to do if I'm going to go to grad school. I don't really want to. And he said, why don't you do your readings for money? And I was just thinking about it. I was like, will people actually pay for that? And then I realized I was in Boulder, Colorado, and I was like, yeah, people will actually pay for that here. And so it was kind of perfect. And so I just started doing it for fun still. I was still doing it, not charging people, but I began to develop a very specific study. And this was like 2015, 2016, a very specific like time for study and to do my work and to have a more, I guess, grounded practice, doing a lot of research. I just really started taking it seriously. And I feel as I'm recording this, even though, this video is timeless, it's this information is relevant indefinitely. I think that's the right way to use that. But at this time that I'm recording it, this is the energy that's really coming through is discipline, being consistent, and being calculated, and just having a plan or working that plan, getting things organized. And so that's what I began to do as I started to really think about the future and what I was doing. And I was like, I still didn't really think I would be doing this per se, but I was like, till I figure things out, I can start doing astrology readings. I can start doing tarot readings. I was really getting very clear and organized within how I understood astrology. So I was really deep into the studies because I had been studying astronomy for 4 years, astronomy and physics. And I got that very scientific, left brain aspect of astronomy, of the cosmic energy. So it was so amazing to balance that energy out with that more receptive, more subjective, right side perspective of the way the universe works. And now I'm just like, wow, it was completely fulfilling. And so that's one of my suggestions, or my guidance here, is when you're stepping into this path, when you've devoted yourself to moving forward, I would definitely, of course, I just lost my thought because I was overthinking it. But when you're devoting yourself to the path, I would definitely begin to just, finding things that are pleasurable and meaningful. If they're both pleasurable and meaningful, that is true happiness. That is true, a way to sustain happiness, even if it's for a moment, even if it's for like 30 minutes or an hour. That will just give you that inspired action, that motivation to continue to move forward. And when you're in that vibration, you will resonate with things that are in that alignment with destiny, with your purpose, with your path. And so it's kind of like this whole, like this key of moving forward in the right direction, quote unquote. And so, I started looking at fairs, like psychic fairs and things of that nature around my community, around my neighborhood. And it was really easy because, again, I was in Boulder, Colorado. So there's like definitely support and just interest for this kind of work. And it's everywhere, honestly. You just have to kind of know how to look and how to connect with people. And now that we have social media, it's definitely a lot easier to find, in my opinion. And so, long story short, I ended up doing, I was living with one of my best friends, and we were in this really tough situation. We had a really intense dynamic with a roommate that was trying to get us kicked out of the house. And so we had to, for some reason, I can't even remember the full details, but we had to come up with a significant amount of money in a short period of time. I think she was trying to kick us out. We were trying to kick her out. And so we're like, we got to get money so we can, if she does leave, I have a feeling she's going to leave. We need to make sure we can cover all of this. So my friend just started Googling, gigs for tarot readers, and it was around Halloween. So it was perfect. And we ended up working a party for this woman up in Boulder Canyon who worked for like Google or something. It was like a huge house in the canyon. And we ended up getting paid $100 an hour each. And we worked 4 hours. We were just reading cards. We were having fun. Like, people were loving it. We were very they wanted us to be very theatrical, which we were just like, whatever. But we were just being ourselves and having fun. And people were so into it. And it was amazing. And I would never have thought to just like do that. But I was just like, I didn't care. I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and jump. And when I had that experience, I was like, whoa, I was like, wow, I can actually do this and make good money and feel good. And it was like, then I knew, I was like, this is what I'm called to do, or some aspect of that. And so what I want to bring it back to is the concept of imposter syndrome, because I feel it, even though I've been doing this for a long time, I feel it in different ways. You're always going to have, when you're leveling up, you're going to have that feeling of like, well, who am I? Or like, why me? Or just like, but there's other people that are doing this and they're so much more put together, or whatever it is, right? But I want to connect with you and remind you that you got to just start somewhere. You have to show up no matter where you are in this process, even if you've been doing it for a long time and you want to take a leap of faith on something new, or you're just beginning, just start somewhere. And that somewhere could be a place where you are having fun, you're enjoying. This feels really, really good. And it also means something to you. It's very deep. It has a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning. And maybe not only for yourself, but for other people. But I definitely feel starting with, as long as it means something to you, and it feels really, really good, do that. Because even if that is not in alignment with your work, it will lead you into the direction of that work or that purpose. And 9 times out of 10, it is in alignment. All right. And so another aspect or another point of guidance I would mention is to journal. journal in some way or keep some kind of record of what it is that you're learning, what you're experiencing, whatever like you feel significant or something you want to note. Do that, because it is so powerful to go back and look at like all of these different spiritual practices or these teachings or messages, because they're going to resonate with you, or they might have even more meaning down the road. And I've been experiencing that. I've been journaling pretty much all my life, but as far as like my spiritual practices, I've been really journaling in these kind of specific either spiritual or manifestation journals, practices. I've been doing this since 2018, or 2017, around then. Really a little bit before, but very specific in these, like a book dedicated to it, I would say for the past 4 or 5 years. And I've been going back to those journals and everything is coming full circle. And I hadn't looked back since then or until now. And I'm just like, wow, I have all of these practices and teachings and just like little messages that are so meaningful, and it's taking me to a deeper level within what it is that I'm experiencing and with what it is that I'm sharing. So that's the next point of guidance, is to embrace creative self-expression. And so I think what's really helpful and what's really inspiring, not only for yourself, but others, is when you share what's coming up for you. And, you don't really have to do this publicly right away. Again, just creatively self-expressing, like through writing, through painting, through singing, whatever it is. But I feel like it's really good to keep that energy flowing and to have a balance of taking the energy in and, putting the energy out. But I think if you're at a point in your practice in your path where you want to start offering your values or offering, your practice or your experiences as work in that way, or as a service, my advice, if you are feeling imposter syndrome or you're having just anxiety, because I get anxiety about this part of the thing where I'm like, oh, but I'm trying to make a living. I feel when you look at it as sharing your experience, like you're just sharing, you're not here to be like, this is what you're supposed to do. I think it takes a lot of the pressure of imposter syndrome off and just any anxiety or overthinking, because it's like, here is my perspective. Here's what I'm experiencing. And if you're just sharing and it feels good and you're sharing in a creative way, or just having a discussion like I am now, or this is not a discussion, but I'm sharing via video with you guys, then that is really inspiring to you and to those who resonate. There will always be someone who resonates, even if it's one person. And that is very authentic. And it's effortless. It takes a lot of pressure off. And so again, starting somewhere, but I feel like when I approach this platform as just sharing, it makes it so much more fun. I'm more inspired and motivated, and it means a lot more to me. So it's very, very helpful. And then finally, my other point of guidance would be to allow the journey to unfold without always knowing the why. And so again, I expressed how in the beginning, I started by just like wanting to connect with nature or understand like my own personal power. I didn't even know that was what I was doing, but I just felt a pull to this. It lit me up. I was just very curious about what this all was. And that really helped me to move along my journey. And I wasn't really concerned with the why. Now I get a little bit wrapped up in the why. So I'm like, why is this happening? Or what does this mean? Or what am I supposed to do now? And so I feel when I like take that out of the equation, things tend to flow more, and it allows it to come to me effortlessly. So you will, just put the request in there. It's like, oh, I'm curious about why this is like that, or where is this leading me? But then moving on and doing something else with your time is key. All right, so that's my offer. And I just wanted to share because I pulled a card from my Oracle of the Radiant Sun deck, my astrology oracle deck, to see what divine wanted to communicate as far as a point of guidance here. And we received this is Jupiter in Libra, negotiation. Jupiter is, I was going to say Jupiter is exalted in Libra, but I'm thinking about Saturn. So cancel that. But Jupiter it feels very good in Libra. I think Jupiter in Libra is nice because Libra wants balance. Jupiter can kind of be really expansive, but I feel when you have that balance of both perspectives, it really brings everything full circle. It centers, it grounds that energy in. And I like that there, again, with the balance, there's the sun and moon energy here. And I know with this card, it's like the earth. It brings forth the earth, the moon, and the sun. So then we have our material world, our desires, what we're creating, what we're manifesting. Here is our emotions and understanding how that can be a guidance system to where we are in life or where we are vibrationally. And then we have the sun here, which is your creative self-expression, your inner being, and understanding and connecting to the ability to share, to express your talents, your art, your creativity, or just why, like, what makes you unique? Why are you here? Or what do you have to share with others that will help to inspire them and yourself, right? So with this card here, it feels like I wrote down material and spiritual well-being. I think that's what I read in the interpretation. So material and spiritual well-being, having that balance, and balance plus fairness will lead you to expansion. And so again, just when it comes to stepping into this path and purpose, having a balanced perspective, having a balanced energy field, really embracing the fact that we are in this beautiful earth plane, but we're also connected to cosmic energy, to divine energy, so we can draw that down and have fun and create a life or an earth, the new earth, that is more supportive to our spiritual growth and our overall collective intention of being here, whatever that is, right? We'll learn in this unfolding journey, right? And so with Jupiter, and Jupiter's energy is gain, is abundance, is good fortune, and optimistic energy, right? So bringing that in. And when I was looking at the interpretation of this card, it definitely indicated that it is time to make a decision. So time to make a decision on that next move, or the decision to finally step into your purpose. Also, the number 7 on this card is indicating that path of the mystery, the sacred 7, gaining a deeper understanding of those esoteric teachings, okay? And so I also want to just share with you all that I am calling forth whoever is ready to, if all this resonates and you're really wanting to take that step into either the beginning of this path or maybe a more evolved aspect of your path and purpose, and you really resonate with what I'm saying here and just my shares and my content in general, and you are desiring a guide, a teacher, a mentor, a companion, definitely connect with me, and I'd be happy to work one-on-one with you. I am taking in a few clients now. So if you are interested in this, I would love to connect. Just message me here, comment on this video, message me, or email me at connect@uraniauniverse.com, or check out my website, uraniauniverse.com, and let's chat to see if we will vibe together. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for liking this video, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care.